All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a tension that, well, I can pretty much guarantee every single one of us has wrestled with at some point. We're talking about the challenge of navigating uncertainty. You know, those moments when the clear promises of faith suddenly clash with the very unpredictable, messy realities of real life. Relying on some really profound insights from Olivia Jonah, we're going to look at what actually happens when our carefully constructed expectations meet a God who flat out refuses to be put into a neat little box.
We have to start by validating a very real, very human frustration. Have you ever done all the right things? Prayed the right prayers, made the wise choices, and yet life just stubbornly refuses to follow your script? It really begs the question, why do our spiritual formulas fail? We all kind of do this, right? We create these hidden equations in our heads, assuming that if we just input enough faithfulness, God is somehow obligated to output a predictable result. But as we're about to see, while God is perfectly faithful, He is also completely free.
Part 1. When life refuses formulas. Because honestly, what actually happens when our carefully laid plans unravel? Let's compare two mindsets. Think of the formula as, if I do X, God will do Y. This is basically our human attempt to control the outcome. It reduces the whole mystery of faith down to a transaction, a technique. But contrast that with the relationship. I trust God even when X doesn't equal Y. That's a totally different ballgame. It requires us to shift from just mindlessly following a checklist to actually walking with a Father. God hasn't invited us to master some formula to unlock His blessings. He's inviting us into a dynamic relationship where we trust His sovereign wisdom, even and especially when His methods surprise us.
Let's move on to part 2, the illusion of understanding. We so often only have part of the story.
To really wrap our heads around this, consider this amazing proverb from Sierra Leone. It goes like this: when a blind man says he will throw a stone at you. Now at first glance that sounds almost absurd, doesn't it? We naturally just brush it off. Like, how could someone who literally cannot see possibly find a stone and throw it with any kind of accuracy? We make a snap judgment based purely on our immediate logical assumption.
But here is the brilliant catch. He has already stepped on the stone. Our initial assumption? Completely wrong. The blind man wasn't searching for a stone at all. He had already found one hidden right beneath his foot. I mean, this just perfectly captures the limitation of our human perspective. We constantly interpret our circumstances, our unanswered prayers, and even God's silence based solely on what we can see right now. But God sees the hidden stones. He knows the end from the beginning, and His understanding goes infinitely deeper than our tiny, partial viewpoint.
We actually see this exact same limitation in historical accounts too. Take the biblical story of the Queen of Sheba. She traveled a massive distance just to see King Solomon. Now, she'd already heard all the reports, the rumors of his legendary wisdom, his incredible prosperity. So she arrives fully expecting that she understood exactly what she was going to see, all based on the data she had gathered beforehand.
But once she actually stood there and experienced Solomon's kingdom for herself, she makes this stunning confession. The report was true, but the half was not told me. Just like the Queen of Sheba, we frequently find out that our initial knowledge, even if it's technically accurate, is just a tiny fragment of the whole picture. The reality of how God is working in our lives is always so much larger, so much deeper, and way more complex than the simple reports we rely on. We rarely, if ever, have the whole story.
Which brings us right to part 3, the agony of by now. What happens when our internal timelines violently clash with God's pacing?
Think about how this internal clock perfectly maps onto the human heart. In year 1, you have the promise. It's the exciting beginning. But fast forward to year 3 and delay introduces this nagging doubt. And by year 5, man, you hit that heavy, agonizing by now. You know the feeling. By now I thought I'd be married. By now I thought I'd be healed. By now I was sure God would have opened that door. Like the book of Proverbs says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. We aren't just carrying the weight of unanswered prayers. We're carrying the crushing burden of an imagined deadline that has come and gone.
And right here is where the enemy loves to plant a massive lie. The idea that God's delay somehow equals His abandonment. But please hear this clearly. God's love is not measured by His speed. It is absolutely vital that we dismantle the idea that a slow answer means God just doesn't care. We never have to measure God's love by the speed of His response. Because, well, His profound, unchanging love was already proven definitively on the cross. His timing is governed by His perfect wisdom, not by our panicked rush schedules.
So if we can't control the timeline, how on earth do we live? That brings us to part 4,
waiting, yielding, and abiding.
Understanding the nuance between these three postures is an absolute game changer for surviving uncertainty. Waiting is really just passing the time. We all have to do it, and often against our will. Yielding is a step deeper. That's the active surrender of our desperate need to be in control, basically acknowledging that God's wisdom is way better than our own math. But abiding? Abiding is cultivating an active, continuous relationship with Christ. It's acting like a branch that's constantly drawing life from a vine. When every visible measure of progress is stripped away, the ultimate question isn't, will God answer me today? But rather, will I abide in Him today?
So how exactly do we practice this abiding? Well, we do it through the three movements of prayer. When Jesus said to ask, seek, and knock, He wasn't just repeating Himself for emphasis. He was revealing a clear progression. Step 1 is ask. That's the beginning of dependence, just admitting we can't do it alone. Step 2 is seek. This is moving beyond just wanting His gifts to actually wanting His will. And step 3 is knock, the sheer persistence of faith. It's refusing to walk away from the door just because it hasn't opened yet.
And honestly, here is the true miracle of prayer. The greatest miracle isn't necessarily that it immediately fixes or changes our circumstances, it's that it patiently shapes our hearts. Our fears give way to trust. Our impatience yields to perseverance. Our desires actually start to align with His heart. While we thought we were just sitting around waiting on God to shape our future, He was actually using that prayer to shape us.
Let's bring this all together with part 5, the potter and the clay. This is one of the most beautiful and enduring metaphors we have from Isaiah 64.
Picture a lump of clay spinning on a potter's wheel. To the untrained eye, or, to the clay itself, the potter's work just feels like random pressure. It feels like confusing movement or agonizing delay. The clay is experiencing all this pushing and pulling without ever once seeing the blueprint. But here is the incredibly comforting truth. The potter has always seen the finished vessel. The wheel isn't turning aimlessly, and neither is your life.
We see this potter's work all throughout history. Think about it. Joseph's years in a dark prison weren't a delay. They were the potter's wheel teaching him the deep forgiveness he would need to one day rule Egypt. David's years running for his life in the wilderness, that taught him total dependence on God way before he ever wore a crown. The pattern is undeniable here, folks. God consistently works on the character of the person before He works through the person.
Which brings us to this breathtaking quote from the Apostle Paul. For now, we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I have been fully known. The beautiful conclusion to our journey in this explainer is that our ultimate destination in faith isn't acquiring perfect information or getting every single question answered. The destination is perfect communion. It's finally standing face to face with the God who has fully known us and perfectly loved us through every single confusing chapter of our story.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Knowing that you only possess a tiny part of the story, knowing that your formulas will inevitably fail you, and knowing that delay is so often divine preparation, can you trust the potter without seeing the vessel? Will you surrender that exhausting burden of trying to control the timeline and simply rest in the trustworthy character of the one whose hands have never, ever left you?